Welcome to Musings Television, where your host, Fabian, invites you to bloom with a new perspective that will encourage, uplift, and inspire. Here he is with today's musings.
So, welcome to Musings Television. Welcome to my kitchen. Today, I will be trying for the first time to prepare sweet potato pudding. So, during the course of the past week, I would have gotten some sweet potatoes from a colleague who went down to Manchester, and there being an overflow of produce, he decided that he would take back some for the staff, for his colleagues. So having gotten sweet potato, I am making sweet potato pudding, which I hope to take for the first time. Hopefully it comes out good. And I will be able to take some into the office to share with the team and my colleagues. So we would have peeled the potatoes, washed them, and now it's time to put in the elbow grease and grate them. So that's just about the first step, the first stage in the process of arriving at the finished product of sweet potato pudding. It's a Jamaican favorite, a Jamaican dessert, which I'm sure many Jamaicans enjoy having. And so I will be trying my hand at sweet potato pudding for the first time. So fingers crossed that it comes out as it should. And it's edible. So we want to savor life as we savor some sweet potato pudding on this episode of Musings of the Mind on Musings Television. And of course, you know that the reflections, the words were aimed at encouraging, inspiring, and uplifting, comes from this, which is the foundation, my recently self-published book, Musings of the Mind Prose to encourage, inspire, and uplift. And as the title suggests, it's a series of mental muses that I would have written over time, which I decided that I would put together and publish, and I did that via Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing in about July of last year, and I would have launched it on my birthday on October of this year. Well, it was published this year actually, July 2021, right? That's okay, yes. But I started to compile it last year. So I would have launched it on October 3rd. It's available on Amazon.com. Or if you're watching this and you want to get a copy, you can email me at affirmationcouture@outlook.com, or you can also look up the page on Facebook at Musings with Fabian. And of course, if you have read the book, you can leave your feedback there for others to know what you thought of it. So, savor life while we savor some sweet potato pudding. Not yet complete, but in the process. And this entry, aptly named Savor Life, it draws on mango. Mango season was in the summer, about what is it now? June, July, August, we had mango season. And it says, life is like eating mangoes or your favorite fruit, or in this case, it could be your favorite dessert. It has the potential to get quite messy, yet you continue to eat, savoring the sweetness of its offering. Eat on, savor life. So isn't that something though? Of course we know that life is really like a dessert, and of course some desserts are sweet, some are tart, and some are more tangy. So we know from that there are, or we can deduct from that there are various perspectives to life, various experiences in life as we journey along. Some are sweet, that causes us to be very happy and jubilant, elated. Others are savory or sour, which causes us sadness and even in the extreme misery, etc. But isn't that all a part of life? I mean, there is no, life is not a straight road as the saying goes. When we journey, if we're going out, for example, on a trip, we know that there are the highways. Let me turn on this. There are the highways, which are largely smooth, flat, straight road with very little curves or turns, corners that will take you to your destination. But if you go off the highway, you will likely find that there are roads that are sometimes straight and easy to traverse, and there are others that are winding, precipitous, full of corners and potholes. And I use that to also, I wonder if I have too much potato. There's something 2 pounds and I'm kind of probably peel too much. Yeah, there are some that causes us to have to make a lot of twists and turns. And if you're not someone who's used to long journeys or taking long journeys, you know that there are some persons who simply can't manage it and will get upset, right? So while it might sweet some, like a sweet dessert, like a sweet potato pudding, it will also sour some, like something that is more tangy. Can you think of a tangy dessert? I can't think of a tangy dessert. This is offhand right now, but yeah, I'm sure you get the picture. But at the same time, whilst we're alive, we have to savor life. We have to take the sweet and the sour as it comes and try to navigate it as best as we can. Because our lives are not always going to be all smooth sailing, right? Sometimes if we don't fall in a ditch, we don't know that, we won't know how we can work our way out of that ditch, right? And in so doing, build strength and capacity. So in another sense, the sweet of life is like our comfort zones, for example, where we aren't being challenged. We have everything coming to us on a platter. But when life gets tangy and a bit sour, then we have to employ our elbow grease, right? To get ourselves back on track, or to back to equilibrium, as it were, so that we can truly savor life. We are savoring the good and the bad, and navigating everything that life has to throw at us as we journey along. So, I'm grating this potato. I'm sure I'm going to have too much, because I think I peel too much. So I don't know how this is going to go, because the recipe calls for 2 pounds of sweet potato. And I think I've peeled more than 2 pounds. So. Which means that if I have more than 2 pounds, I'm going to have to increase the flour and the other ingredients to match the amount of potato that I have. And the unfortunate thing is that my teaching scale has decided not to work, or to stop working, so I can't even wait to see how much we have already. But all shall be well, and it shall be well. So, we're savoring life as we savor some sweet potato pudding today. So remember what the entry says about savoring life. It says that life is like eating mangoes or your favorite fruit. It has the potential to get quite messy, yet you continue to eat, savoring the sweetness of its offering. Eat on, savor life. So no matter what it is that you have been faced with during the past week, or what you will likely face in the weeks to come, as long as you are sustained in the land of the living, then let that be our collective dispositions. Yes, there are going to be times when we're sad. Yes, there are going to be times when we're happy. But that's a part of the journey. And that's a part of, I think, what makes life meaningful too. Right? I suppose in a sense we have to experience both ends of the spectrum to really appreciate what it is like to be happy and cherish those moments. And those moments also act as fuel, in a sense, or encouragement for us in the times of our sadness, to know that this too shall pass, and you're not going to be in that state of sorrow forever, but with time you will also journey back towards a state of happiness. Happiness that is, or can be likened to, comfort food like sweet potato pudding, or I'm sure it is for some. You know, some persons will, when they're sad, when they're down, they have certain food or foods which they go to for comfort. This could likely be someone's comfort food, sweet potato pudding, that gives them or lightens the load in the moment while they savor the sweetness, sometimes tartness, tartiness of the pudding. Yes, I think I might have too much potato grated now, but I'm going to grate another piece and then call it quits and bake the others and use them with some other brown provision for lunch in the week or even dinner later. So it's a sweet potato Sunday on Musings television this week. So we're getting it. We're getting it. We're grating our potato. We're grating our potato. Alright, so I'm going to, should I do another piece or just call it quits at this? It seems like a lot. 1 pound of flour can increase the measurings of the other ingredients, because this appears to be more than 2 pounds of sweet potato. So I'm going to complete the gratering and then I'll come back when I'm putting together the batter, so to speak. Welcome back. So I have grated the sweet potato, and now I need to add the other ingredients to the sweet potato as we journey towards the sweet potato pudding, as we muse on savoring life while we savor some sweet potato pudding. So based on the recipe that I'm following, it says that I am supposed to add the dry ingredients to the sweet potato and I suppose combine them before I add the wet ingredients, which is the coconut milk. It calls for some spices which I have in liquid form, which I will also add once I introduce the coconut milk. And I'm going to put a bit of spin on it by adding a little Baileys to the mix to see how it will come out. I have white rum and I have some red label wine, but I'm going to use Baileys instead to see how that takes to it, or the end product anyway. So in this I have flour, and I would have grated and nutmeg. Grated, whatever is the correct one, which is the correct one? English. My grade one in CXC English might be failing me right about now. Yeah, so this has nutmeg in it, so it's flour. It's about 2 and a little bit cup of flour, because the recipe calls for 2 pounds of sweet potato and 1 cup of flour. But by my judgment, I think I have more than 2 pounds of sweet potato in it. So I added an additional cup and a tad bit more to account for the extra sweet potato that I would have grated. So hopefully come out. And a while. Yeah. So as we were musing about savouring life while savouring some sweet potato pudding. And I was thinking, how can we savour life though? Life is full of so many ups and downs and challenges that we might encounter. So how would you savour life? How do you savour life? I think that in savouring life, for me, I just take it as it comes. As the saying goes, you roll with the punches. For the most part, while there are many who will say that they can predict the future or know what is around the corner, like fortune tellers, etc. If you're not into that and you don't go to them, you don't know what is around the corner for you. You can prepare for things as much as you like in life, but sometimes when life throws its curveballs at you, there is no amount of preparation that sometimes that will assist you in navigating those curveballs. So I think in savouring life, you basically just have to take it as it comes. Prepare as best as you can to make provision for family and yourself and family, and just maintain relationships, which is an important part of life, since none of us are an island unto ourselves and we'll need help and assistance at some point in time from somebody. We really have to put ourselves in that position so that when those situations come along, we'll have somebody who will run to our assistance. So in savouring life, you just take it as it comes. You prepare as best as you can. You enjoy the highs whilst you have them, because those are what you will have to rally back on, in a sense, when the lows come. So you embrace everything that life has to offer, right? That's how you go about, I think, savouring life. Is there any other way? Okay, so as we continue with this sweet potato pudding, this is now the time for the coconut milk. For all those grandmothers out there, I'm sorry, but I don't have, or would not have, grated and juiced any coconut. So I'm using good old Grace coconut milk. So please forgive me for the purists among us. So I've added the coconut milk, and I'm now just combining with the sweet potato and the flour mix that I would have introduced to it. Right. So this is what it looks like now, with the sweet potato, the flour, and the coconut milk that has been introduced. I'm going to add, where's my measuring thing? I'm going to add, as I said, a cup of Baileys. This is just my twist. Or maybe I shouldn't add a cup, but I'm going to add a cup. Or just a little, it wasn't fully a cup. But yeah. And it calls, where's my vanilla? Yes. It calls for 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of vanilla actually. I suppose it's a tablespoon. And so that's 1, 2, and a little extra. Since it's more than a cup of flour, which is what the recipe would have called for. And then it adds some mixed spice. So I'm going to put, it asks a 1 tablespoon, I'm going to put 2. And so the nutmeg is already in it. It asks for dried fruits, but I don't know. I have some cranberries which I'm going to introduce to it, since I don't have any raisins. Not all potato puddings are baked with raisins or cranberries or anything like this anyway. But I'm just going to add it because I have it. Right. And then, what else do I have to do? I'm going to put some cinnamon extract, just a tablespoon. It didn't ask for this, the recipe doesn't call for it, but I'm going to put it in there anyway. Since I have it. And I suppose what is this? A teaspoon of salt. Where's my salt? So a teaspoon of salt. Level off. And then I just mix this up together. And then it will be time for the oven, which I haven't yet lit. Right? So let's go back and mix these together as we muse on Savouring Life while we savor some sweet potato pudding. It smells good. Hopefully it tastes good. There's a first for everything, right? And sometimes in life we allow ourselves not to make that first for everything because of fear, on the uncertainty of how to pan out. But guess what? We have to build capacity by doing. So anything that we feel that we are incapable of doing, try it. You might be surprised, you might surprise yourself how good it turns out. But you'll never know unless you try. You have to take that first step towards climbing Mount Everest or our own beautiful blue mountains. If you don't intend to take that first step, then okay, this is starting the butter is to be introduced to grease in the pan, not to put in the water. You will never make it up there. So I think this is it. We have the batter. I followed the recipe. I've added my own twist to it. And I think this should be it. And I leave the rest in the hands of fate, hoping that it will come out as it should. So, which pan should I use though? Should I use this size or this big size? I think I want to use that size because it doesn't look like it's just enough to fit into this big one, this bigger one. So that's what it's going to be. There's that there. I'm also going to be doing a banana bread. I have lots of bananas in my fridge that I'm saving to make shakes after the gym. But I haven't really been making much shakes, so they are there. So I'm going to also make a banana bread which I can have in the mornings with tea. So it's a baking Sunday today. So I'm going to let that dry. I think I need to turn on the oven now so that it can start to do its thing. So nothing is in it. Sometimes I leave the frying pot in it and turn it on. And it's after I realize the frying pot in it. Yeah. So here we have our batter for our sweet potato pudding, which I will now grease my pan, flour it, and pour the batter in. And as soon as the oven is at 350 degrees, I will introduce it to the heat and then allow the heat to do its thing. So remember our musing today: savor life. Life is like eating mangoes or your favorite fruit. It has the potential to get quite messy, yet you continue to eat, savoring the sweetness of its offerings. Eat on, savor life. Thank you for watching Musings with me today as we savor life while we savor some sweet potato pudding. Remember to like and subscribe for future episodes. You can also purchase a copy of Musings of the Mind Prose to encourage, inspire, and uplift via Amazon.com. I also invite you to check out Affirmation Couture at Affirmation Couture on Instagram and affirmationcouture.com, our online store. And I truly hope that our musing on Savouring Life today would have given you some encouragement, words of inspiration, and would have uplifted you if you are feeling down today. Until next time, thank you for tuning in, and remember to continue to savor life. If you enjoy mangoes, you know eating mangoes can get quite messy, but nonetheless we continue to eat, savoring the sweetness that it offers. Similar to how those of us who love sweet treats will savor our sweet potato pudding. So continue to eat on, savor life in all its offerings. Take care and be encouraged, be inspired, be uplifted always. And so the sweet potato pudding is in the oven, and beside it rests a banana bread. So the finished product, you will see how it came out. Savouring life with sweet potato pudding. Stay tuned for the finished product. You won't necessarily see it when it's cut, but when it's fully baked. So here we have the baked sweet potato pudding. There's no hallelujah on the top because it was oven baked. It wasn't done on the cold stove as with hella bottom, hella top, hallelujah in the middle, as the saying goes. But this is the finished product for the sweet potato. Savouring life with sweet potato pudding. And that's the side, the banana bread that was done. So you can see there, it's a nice little brown on the top.
There you have it, this week's musings. We hope you found it encouraging, inspiring, and uplifting. Let Fabian know your thoughts by leaving a comment on this video. Do spread the word and invite others to subscribe to Musings Television. Until next week, may your hearts remain ever joyful.